How would you like to perform your daily activities without pain stopping you? Then you need to go to pysoflex.com. That's P-Y-S-O flex.com, P-Y-S-O flex.com. They offer a wide range of resource selection from braces to body supports. They even have one of those awesome massage guns and even a full body massage mat, which is awesome. So with the help of their products, you can live more comfortably and get back on track doing the daily activities that you enjoy. Their company stands by the belief that pain management is a requirement for a person to get back to doing their daily chores. They want to be your provider of products that will give you hope when you're facing challenges such as activity injuries, chronic pain, or an age-related disease. The company's goal is to give a one-of-a-kind selection of high-quality, comfortable brace and support products that ship directly to your home as soon as possible. Whether your health recovery is from a sports activity or health-related illness, they have a solution to aid that unexpected disease under one store. It's pysoflex.com, P-Y-S-O flex.com. They also have a 30-day return policy, which means if something just isn't working right for you, you can return it for your money back. Guys, check out pysoflex.com, P-Y-S-O flex.com, and manage your pain and get back to your life today.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, Week in Review. It is Sunday, December 4th, 2022. Only a few weeks left until 2023. Unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable that it's going to be 2023 in just a few short weeks. And then as we look towards 2023, we have WrestleMania 39, of course, with a lot of rumored potential matchups. The Rock, Stone Cold coming back. It's like suddenly everyone's been called out from the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era. John Cena will probably have a match. And then we get SummerSlam later in the year. And then before you know it, we're looking at a possible MJF debut in WWE in a year. And then by then it'll be 2024 and hey, another presidential election and all that madness to go with it. But a lot to get to before we talk about any of that, of course. And I'd first like to welcome you to the show. If you are a longtime listener, then I appreciate you very much. If you're a brand new listener, well, I hope you enjoy this because I feel like we're different than most podcasts that you listen to for wrestling. And actually, I'd like to thank everyone that supported us in 2022 because on Spotify, they did like your Wrapped thing, but everyone did their Wrapped. If you're a listener of Spotify, you got your Wrapped, meaning it told you what your most listened song to was, your top genres, how many minutes total you listened to your music throughout the year and all that. But as a creator, it also gives you a Wrapped, and we put out more content than 99% of people in the sports category. That's just crazy. I mean, that just tells you that we don't stop pumping out content. Maybe a good or bad thing. Sometimes too much is good, not a good thing. But I just saw that and I was pretty impressed by it. And we have, I think it was 4,000 or 5,000 who have us in their top 20 podcasts. And I think a couple thousand who put us in there, we are their number one. And so I'd like to thank everybody. This is just on Spotify. This doesn't count Apple Podcasts. This doesn't count, which by the way, Apple Podcasts is the majority of our downloads. This doesn't count anywhere else, Spreaker or iHeartRadio, any of that. So thank you. I just want to take the time out and also let you guys know if you're interested in becoming our AEW weekly review host, get in contact with me, mailbag@wwepodcast.com. If you think you're able to pump out a show every Thursday for the Dynamite review, let me know. All right. Mailbag@wwepodcast.com if you're interested. I have a few people who have already contacted me and I just wanted to point that out and give you that opportunity. But let's get into it. Let's talk about this week in WWE. As we get to the Rumble, we're 7 weeks away now or so, right? And it feels like they know they have a ton of time to fill. No one's even talking about the Royal Rumble right now, other than Kofi Kingston, who just, here we go with the declarations. You just declare you're in it and you're in it. That's all you have to do. I said this last year. I think I said it the year before and the year before that, but it's such a great analogy. I think if you're an Office fan, when Michael Scott declares bankruptcy and he says, I declare bankruptcy, and they're like, that's not how it works, Michael, right? There's a whole bunch of paperwork you have to file to declare bankruptcy. And it feels like that is going to be the case again under the tutelage of Triple H. And to some degree, I understand the wrestlers just being able to say they're in the match, because what are you going to do? Have 15 qualifying matches, or rather 30 qualifying matches? Can't do that. I mean, unless you bunch them together, like if a 8-man tag match, everyone on the winning team gets into the Rumble. I mean, it's not feasible. So I understand to some degree, but also they could just draw random numbers or random names out of a hat. There's ways to do it that don't just make it look like it's arbitrary and anyone's able to go in as long as you just declare it, which is just so stupid. But we had the stupidest of them all declare it this week in Mr. Kofi Kingston. So, there's that if you care about such things. But that was the only mention of the Rumble. Other than that, I don't think they mentioned it at all. And I'm not really surprised, because number one, they have a ton of time to kill between now and the Rumble. Number two, they know that December is a dead month generally, cyclically, for wrestling, so it makes sense that they're not going to just hype a show that's 7 weeks out. I would imagine that the moment that Christmas is over, that Monday Night Raw following is going to be all full steam ahead. They may drop a little Rumble here and there. I declare I'm in. So we'll get little droppings of it, but I think that the big splash of the Rumble, where it just goes, full steam ahead, is going to be that Monday Night Raw after the holiday. And I'm looking on the calendar. I'm trying to see what day that exactly falls on. And, we have a Monday Night Raw on the 26th of December. That's not a good one, because that'll probably be pre-taped. I would imagine, although I have to look, it may be live, but that's still tough given that people are maybe still in holiday mode. But after that, January 2nd, maybe even as late as January 9th, because sometimes they do wait like an extra week to really go to full gear, where we have massive returns, massive hints, full steam ahead to the Rumble. Sometimes it's not the day after, the way that this falling this year. It may not be the direct day after New Day. Yeah, that's what I want to say. New Year's, that we have everything go into full gear. But I would imagine January 2nd is the date you want to circle. It could be January 9th, but January 2nd, that Monday Night Raw, is where we're going to see a flip to WrestleMania season, like completely. So that'll be fun. And until then, it's going to be, if we get good shows, great. If we don't, it's to be expected. It's kind of, to me, bonus content for the month of December in wrestling. And here we are. It's the kind of the lull of the season, usually. Although you could look at the lull of the season as after WrestleMania, too. But this year, as most years are, it's December. So, hey, we kind of got to, I think we need to recalibrate our expectations for December. But, all right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this week in WWE specifics. And besides Kofi Kingston just declaring he's in, we have other things happen, like Bray Wyatt. Now, I don't know if I'm not trying to make a hot take here, to make a hot take to create a soundbite or something. I'm really, that's not what we really do at all. But right now, Bray Wyatt's getting boring to me. He's becoming his old self. I know that there's this Uncle Howdy. I know that there's speculation as to who that is. It could be Bo Dallas. I've heard Randy Orton, right? I've heard several names that it could be. It could be himself as an alter ego, which would be the most boring reveal of all time. But to me, he feels much like he did when he was doing the Edison bulb spitting riddles that you didn't have time to care to dissect. It back when he was with Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, and he was the swamp cult leader, And he would just, it felt like week after week, just spin all of these nursery rhymes that, while they're deep and intricate, and I'm sure he puts thought into it, and he does, it felt like at that time, I didn't really care to put the effort in to dissect it and figure out the crack at the code that he was trying to spit at us. And it feels a little bit like that now. Again, I'm getting flashbacks to it, and I'm not saying Bray Wyatt's doomed. I'm not saying that he, is as uninteresting as he was back then, but I would say that there are shades of it, because right now it seems like we're in a holding pattern with Bray Wyatt. We're in this holding pattern of him just spitting nursery rhymes backstage, and then the mask shows up every once in a while, or Uncle Howdy, and we're all supposed to just listen to every word. And while I think there are a lot of people out there that still do that and are intrigued, I would venture to guess that there's a lot of us out there as well that are looking at this and going, okay, can we kind of move on to something we can sink our teeth into with this? We get it. He's a deep dude. There's a lot to unpack. You could hire a team of private investigators to crack the code and dissect every word that he says and be able to, connect the dots. We get it. But for the majority of us, we don't want to have to think that hard. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to insult the intelligence of wrestling fans. I've been one for 25 years. But wrestling is not a show that you watch to have to think too hard. It's an escape from reality, as a lot of things in our lives are. Watching TikTok is an escape from reality. Watching mostly any show on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, most of them are designed to be kind of escape from reality, just not think type of show. And I feel like with this, it's eating more of my brain than I want it to. I maybe am just starting to lose interest in it. This is a long way of saying I'm ready to go to whatever this next chapter is of the reveal, or get him in an actual damn program. That's maybe what I'm looking for. I'm looking for him to, he's got LA Knight, which we all know is nothing more than a pit stop to whoever he's really going to face at the Rumble or wherever. But he's saying he didn't attack LA Knight, and he said if he had, the whole world would know. And so it's supposed to be Uncle Howdy who did. Now again, is Uncle Howdy Randy? Is it Bo Dallas? Is it someone else we're not thinking of? Is it Sister Abigail? Is it Bray Wyatt himself? We don't know, but I'm starting to lose interest quickly. And I don't know. It's giving me bad flashbacks to when he was just doing nothing backstage. And all right, I said my piece on that. I don't want to keep repeating it. Maybe everyone else out there is more interested in this than I am right now. I'm not disinterested. It's not that I don't care or I'm annoyed or I'm angry about it. I'm just a bit discouraged. I think that's a good word. So if you think I'm complaining about it, it's just discouraged because I've seen this before. I've seen this version of Bray Wyatt before, and it didn't lead to a good place. So I'm not too concerned, because it's only been a few weeks that he's been, a month or two, then he's been back, and he has slightly interacted with one other talent of LA Knight. And he does have Uncle Howdy, which is different, and he's just being quote unquote Bray Wyatt. And there's the Bray Wyatt 5 that are out there. All of that. And I get that, but I don't know. I'm ready. All right. So let's move on to something else we can talk about other than me going in circles. And that is, let's talk about the Sami Zayn dynamic with Jey Uso and Jimmy. All seems to be well. All seem to be smiles. In fact, Sami Zayn and his match with Sheamus was good. It was a good match. I'm not really here to talk about the physical part of the match. We all know what you're going to get. The 10 beats of the Bowderin, whatever the hell that is. Is it? I don't even know how to spell that. Bowderin. I don't know what it is. I just pretend to know what I'm saying. But whatever that move is, it always hinges on that and how many, chops he's going to give to whoever's chest. Lately, he's been giving 20 plus. And, Sami Zayn gets the win here because Jey Uso helped him win. And they acted like that was the first time Jey Uso tried to help him win, which is not true. But fine, I'll go with the narrative. And by the way, the crowd was super into this. super into Sami Zayn, super into the Bloodline, supporting them. And, before I get to my main point, I do want to say that I kind of feel bad for Sheamus. I really do. I feel bad for Sheamus because he was on a bit of a run. Organically becoming a babyface after his amazing 5-star match with Gunther. And the fans really gravitated to him. And then it got cut short because Sami Zayn, who's also a heel, organically got the support of the crowd and in a bigger, more intense way. And that overshadowed Sheamus. And Sheamus did not get a great reaction because he was going up against Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, I don't know if there's anything he could do right now to get booed. I mean, he turned on his best friend. Everyone wants to see him, eventually turn on Roman, turn on the Bloodline, all that. Show his, is there some kind of master plan with the master strategist for all this? And we didn't get that yet. So it was another step in another direction, at least on the surface at Survivor Series. But for Sheamus, I feel bad because Sami Zayn is, even though he's being booked as a heel, is getting a babyface reaction. Sheamus has kind of been quieted down and taken a back seat to Sami Zayn because of how well Sami Zayn has done and connected with the audience. So he just right now he's overshadowing anyone he works with if they're trying to book him as a heel. So I'm sure Sheamus is like, man, what the hell? I finally get on a run. I get on a great run. And then Sami Zayn comes along and he's even hotter. And son of a, you know what, right? So, I think it's just everything with Sami Zayn right now is just working well. He did the Usi thing. He said he's feeling Usi. I feel like already that's getting boring. I feel like the Usi thing, they're going to sell a lot of t-shirts. Okay. They're going to sell a lot of t-shirts with this and good for them. I just hope they don't overuse it. Usi is already, to me, not cool to say anymore. Because everyone now says it, so it feels like it's not cool. But they'll continue to, squeeze as much money out of it as they can with merchandise and everything else, and they should. So, but one other thing, I gotta call out. Who was it? I have my notes and I can't even read them. Oh, somebody said, I don't know if it was. I think it was. Was it Cole? Might have been Cole. Who said that Sami Zayn lasted over 30 minutes in the War Games match. Well, yeah. Everyone did. That came in at first or second or third even, depending on how long the match went. Like, you can't say someone lasted in a match when the match doesn't even start until every competitor's in the ring. It's not an elimination match, which is kind of unfortunate. And really, the more I think about it, the more the War Games match rules kind of piss me off, because for the first 9 entrants, what goes on in the ring doesn't matter at all. It doesn't. It's just a unsanctioned fight in which there can't be a winner or loser because the match hasn't even started yet. So I don't like it because everything that happens for the first 9 entrances or first 9 entrants is inconsequential, because by the time the 10th person gets there, the odds are going to be even anyway, because no one's been eliminated. So there's really not an advantage. They can tell the silly story that there's an advantage, like the mini stories, until you get to everyone in the match. But by the time you get to everyone in the match, everyone's back on their feet. Yeah, and you just start the match. And it's like, well, what was the point of everyone beating the hell out of each other for 30 minutes? I don't know. The more I thought about it, the more I get kind of angry about it. I know Anthony DeMarco and I talked about this on, I think it was our last current state of WWE, reviewing Survivor Series. And, as the week went on, and especially like earlier today, I'm like, why isn't that elimination? Then your team has a true advantage because you can't eliminate anyone. You just can have a handicap situation for half the match or half of the pre-match, which doesn't matter because you can't win until the match starts. So it's just, I don't know. Maybe I don't like the War Game. Even if this is tradition in the way that normal War Games matches go, I don't like it. All right. So that's my opinion. Some of you strongly disagree, but That's the beauty of wrestling. Okay, so I wanted to point that out, but Sami Zayn right now and Jey Uso, let me get back to that. I was getting to a point, I promise. So Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, again, the narrative is, and what they're trying to sell us right now is, all is well. It really can be summed up in that phrase. That those three words can sum up what WWE is trying to sell us. And that is, with the Bloodline, all is well. They've got victory after victory. They've got all the gold. Outside of the Intercontinental Championship, they've got it all. Roman's undefeated, or hasn't lost, or been pinned rather, in 2.5 years. Excuse me. He's been champion since SummerSlam of 2020. And he's heading towards 1,000 days as champion. By the way, I know I keep harping on that, but my belief on that will be confirmed when they start to continue to remind you how many days. Like if anyone mentions 1,000 days, if anyone mentions it on air, announcer, wrestler, doesn't matter. If anyone mentions it, look out. It's 1,000% happening. If someone says, can you imagine if he gets to 1,000 days? Forget it. He is keeping the championship or championships through the end of May of 2023. I think it was May 29th is when the actual 1,000th day happens, or on Memorial Day. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Something to keep an eye on. If they really start counting the days and going back to it, now he's over 900 days, which he will be shortly. And then, that someone mentions 1,000, forget it. It's over. Just go to 1,000 days because he's going to retain the championship. But with Jey and Sami right now, again, the bill of goods they're selling is all is well. But here's the thing. There was a seed of doubt planted in the mind of Jey Uso on SmackDown, with Jimmy Uso talking to Jey and saying that, it doesn't bother you. You never got to talk to Sami about lying to your face. And for Jey's response was, well, Big Uso, Roman, said that he looked in his eyes and saw what he needed to see. So Jey Uso is saying, no, I didn't. And you could tell he, in a way, it still bothered him. He never confronted him. But he's going with the fact that Jey Uso, or rather Roman Reigns, said all was okay. So therefore he has to be okay with it, even though inside he's not. So there are seeds of doubt still there for Jey with Sami Zayn. So keep that in mind. Again, it was a subtle thing, but that's maybe where things come back. And it's just a bit of a hint to fans that, yeah, all may appear well, but the seed of I don't know if strife's the right word, or just animosity will be watered once again. So it's going to take time. I think towards the Rumble, we'll start to see things crack again. There's, again, so many ways to go. But all right, let's talk a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit more about SmackDown. Let's talk about the SmackDown World Cup. Ricochet versus Santos Escobar. My God, did they promote this or what? And I had no problem with that. And you know what? I would have never called this final. I thought for sure that Braun Strowman would have been involved, but I keep thinking like Vince thought. Vince probably would have had, if this tournament existed at all with Vince. If it did, that Braun Strowman would have been a heavy contender, if not a favorite to win. And with Triple H, his message is, I'm going to be focusing on younger talent. I want to be focusing on helping build that new star. I want that younger talent to get more airtime, show what they can do in a 15, 16, 17 minute main event. That's what I want to do. And that's what we saw. So I think that was the message here. And I like it. Because again, Braun Strowman, what would that have done for his career? The answer is nothing. We will eventually get a Braun Strowman and Gunther match. It will happen. I hope Gunther doesn't show that he's, a coward. That's the opposite of Gunther and what he stands for. I didn't like that a few weeks ago on SmackDown. But that match will happen eventually. But right now, they're focusing on Ricochet and Santos Escobar, who put on a very good match. Very good match. I mean, it wasn't an instant classic, But it was a kind of match you knew you were going to get with these two types of wrestlers. And we had Ricochet get the victory here after the 630 splash. And I mean, it was really good. And I think that it took Ricochet and Santos Escobar to the next level, because Ricochet has been viewed by most fans, I think, as just kind of this high flying, cool move, but no depth of character type of guy. And we got more character development through, I think it was a video promo and what it meant to him and all that. And then Santos Escobar with his backstage kind of, I was going to say mafia, but more like Mexican cartel type of vibe. It felt very much like, to me anyway, with Breaking Bad. If those of you that have seen that, I don't know if anyone has, it's kind of this low-key successful show. Of course, I'm being just facetious, but it felt very much like that with the cartel and Gus Fring and that kind of group. And I love the vibe. And Zelina Vega, I mean, she just can't help it. She's involved in all these like Latino storylines, and it's fine with me. I don't care. But I'm thinking back to like Andrade Cien Almas and Austin Theory, who was actually with them at one point during the pandemic era, and Humberto Carrillo. Remember all that? Angel Garza, that whole group that I thought was going somewhere and it really didn't go anywhere. But she's found herself again with blonde hair now, and I think it's a great look for her. She's one of my favorites. She's already a million times better than Queen Zelina and that whole gimmick that is just overplayed, of suddenly turning into this, this pretend king or queen that carries around a scepter for like 5 weeks and calls everyone their subjects and peasants and all that. And it's just so cliche. Now she's in a role that I really like. Now, I do think her best role is still going to be as women's champion when that happens. But right now, she is just one of the greatest managers that the WWE has. And, I'm not saying she's better than Paul Heyman, okay, guys? But I'm saying for a female, you have Scarlett with Karrion Kross, and she does a nice job, but she doesn't talk much. Zelina Vega talks, and she has a great look, and she's so good when she speaks. I mean, Zelina Vega is just compelling when she speaks. She makes you pay attention. She just makes you pay attention to her. And I'm not talking about her body, okay? I'm talking about her words. I'm talking about what she's saying, because it's like I believe what she believes, even though I know she's, reading off of what she's told to say. I felt that way about her entire career. So anyway, the pairing is really nice here. I like the entire group. Phantasma, I love what they do. I love the vibe. It's so much different than every other group. And so with Santos Escobar, his storytelling throughout this match was also really good, with him being shocked that Ricochet could kick out of this move and that move. And the one move that actually scared me during this match was the over the head landing on the neck suplex, that I don't know how Ricochet didn't break his neck. I mean, my God, that's the kind of stuff that scares me with Ricochet. Like his shelf life can't be very high when you take bumps like that. I mean, that's what scared me about Ricochet from day one, is the way that he does and has his matches. He goes like 0 to 100 and there's no in between speed. And he can do these amazing athletic superhuman things, but there was very rarely any character development. So fans looked at you as in kind of a superficial way of, oh, this is that guy that just does cool moves. Yeah, that's not called an emotional connection. Okay. That's just called fans using you to get a jolly off of, your 450 splashes and your crazy reversals and things. There's no connection there other than that. And that's superficial. It doesn't last long. It's not a very strong connection. I think this week he has started to rectify that with some backstage promo or a video package and the length of his match, and being in a main event on SmackDown that may be one of the very, very few times he has been. So that was a good step in the right direction. He gets the victory, and then he is quickly confronted by Gunther on the stage, and they have a stare down for their match for the Intercontinental Championship that's going to take place on, what was it? It was the 16th, I think December 16th in Chicago. So 2 weeks until the Intercontinental Championship match. So it's a nice build. I like how they're actually building towards that match and not just kind of throwing it out there with no explanation as to how somebody's earning an opportunity for the Intercontinental Championship. So Gunther was in action, though, and he faced Kofi Kingston. And I love how, by the way, by Imperium, who calls out Kofi Kingston and Xavier every week for just being an embarrassment to the business. Yeah, hallelujah. Like, praise, brother. I mean, exactly. I mean, that's exactly right. So it's great. I mean, they're really not speaking anything that's an untruth here. It's just objective reality. They're an embarrassment to the business. From a character perspective, they are, okay? Character. Some of you out there are like, whoa, why don't you like them? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, character. Okay, that's it. But I love Imperium, and this Kofi Kingston match was fine. Gunther gets the victory. That's pretty much it. Okay, Shayna Baszler took out Emma fairly quickly. I think it was like a 5-6 minute match with the Karafuda clutch. And then after that, we got Shotzi coming out and Raquel Rodriguez. Shayna Baszler backed off. And then, Shayna Baszler stared them down saying, oh, it takes 3, huh? So Shayna Baszler took the wiser of the two paths and decided to get out of Dodge. Now, next week, we're going to see a Shotzi versus Shayna Baszler match with Raquel Rodriguez, who's got a shattered elbow from Ronda, in Shotzi's corner, and we're going to have Ronda Rousey back in Shayna Baszler's corner. So that's going to be an interesting development. Also next week on SmackDown, they announced Kurt Angle's 25th year celebration. So, which is kind of funny given that, Kurt Angle wasn't in WWE for like a decade. So like after he left, when was it, like 05, 06 or something, 06? So 07, somewhere around there, mid 2000s, he leaves, goes to TNA and other promotions. Of course, had his whole drug problem with, painkillers and all that kind of stuff, which is really sad. And if you guys haven't checked that out, I think it's on A&E. They did a documentary on, or biography on Kurt Angle and his wife, and his wife almost left him, and he was basically comatose with his kids. It's really sad, but he turned it around, and so that's the the happy ending. But it's just funny that Kurt Angle's 25th celebration. It's like, well, yeah, it's been 25 years since he debuted, but like, don't try to tell me that if they try to sell it as 25 years in WWE, yeah, not so much, but whatever. So that's next week. I don't know what that's going to lead to. I don't know. But, all right. Liv Morgan then took out Damage Control, who had a returning Tegan Nox. Damage Control, was out there running their mouths, and with Bayley at the helm, of course. And so Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox end up somewhat leveling the playing field here. Karrion Kross and Scarlett revealed their next opponent. And that next opponent is Rey Mysterio. So, Karrion Kross is targeting Rey Mysterio for reasons unknown. But I love Karrion Kross's promos, his backstage skits that he does. He's very compelling. Scarlett is also a nice addition. She always is a really nice addition to his character. And so he's targeting Rey Mysterio, and I don't have a problem with this. I would imagine Rey Mysterio is going to lose. I would imagine that Dominic Mysterio is going to somehow inject himself once again into Rey Mysterio's business, probably around Rumble time, though. I would imagine that they're going to take a bit of a break from one another where you think, okay, they're separated. Okay, Rey has accepted that his son is forever gone and just distancing himself. And then, maybe Dominic screws Rey out of a Rumble win or winning I don't know. Maybe Dominic does something to eliminate Rey, continuing to put the pressure on Rey to challenge his son to a match at WrestleMania. So that, I think, is all coming, and that's fine with me. But let's see here. Scarlett and Kross are targeting Rey. So I think that covers SmackDown for this week. Now, on to Raw. This was as a reminder as to what happened. Becky Lynch opened the show this week, and she was out with Zachary and Bobby. Now, some of you love this. Some of you thought this was so great. Some of you thought this was very personable, very likable. What a cool gal. She's trying to be one of us. I looked at it as, and this could be just a flaw in my personality and like my brain chemistry. It's possible, but if it is, it's kind of too late here. It's already entrenched into my brain and hardwired. I found it very pandering. I found it very transparently pandering. When I feel someone's pandering to me, meaning they're just doing something very shallow and transparent to get me to cheer them because they think I'm, that I don't have the intelligence to see what they're doing to try to get me to go, yay, wow, she's just like one of us. That's so relatable. How cool is she? I don't see the appeal here. I just don't. I love Becky Lynch, and I will cheer for her as a babyface, especially against Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. That's going to be great. I just don't like the pandering when it's transparent, and all of a sudden, a few months ago, before your injury, you were out here on a weekly basis running us down, and all of a sudden you want to be one of us? I know she had this epiphany at SummerSlam with Bianca, but come on. I don't know. It's such a 180 turn. Not a fan of this pandering. That was the most pandering I've seen Becky Lynch in a long time. And she went out there clearly with a plant. Somebody had a yellow t-shirt on or a yellow sweatshirt. Wasn't a fan. But anyway, she brawled with Damage Control. Damage Control continues to rack up the number of enemies that it has. And Becky Lynch is on that list. And so Becky Lynch and Tegan Nox are probably going to team up at some point to take on Damage Control. Damage Control is a nice little pit stop for Becky Lynch. That's cool. I don't have a problem with that. Which, by the way, are they ever going to remember that they have a tag team division in the women and for the women's division? Did they forget? Did Vince, remind them, hey, yeah, we've got championships, but we don't really have a division. Don't forget. We satisfied this quote unquote, equality for the women that they have tag team championships, but don't tell anybody they don't really have a division. It's almost like, Triple H is continuing on with the tradition of Vince McMahon with, checking a box that the women have a tag team championship, yet hilariously or sadly, depending on how you look at it, don't have a division. They don't have anyone to defend them against. I mean, there's teams that pop up from here, here and there, enough to make it create the illusion that there's these unknown, unnamed kind of massive amount of tag teams in the division. There's not. I mean, you could probably count them on one hand or less. So, anyway, but I hope they get back to the women's tag team division and back to the tag team championships that are just sitting dormant around the waist of Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So, all right. Let's move on. What else happened on Raw? Rhea Ripley took on Mia Yim, and then that turned into a 6-person tag team match. Or was it an 8-person? But Judgment Day got the victory there, as they should, against the OC. We then got, let's see, the Bloodline celebrating Alpha Academy versus the Street Profits, where the Street Profits get a victory that, as I have said, and I said this on my Monday Night Raw review, that it really means nothing. I mean, seriously, you might as well just not be on the show. That would mean more than beating the Alpha Academy at this point, because the Alpha Academy haven't won a match and probably since their inception. All right. What else? The Miz versus Dexter Loomis. Dexter Loomis gets the victory, and we move the hell on. The one funny part I did mention on the Raw review, which I will reiterate, was when the Miz took the money back from the fan, and then Johnny Gargano, Mr. reveal all truth. Suddenly, I mean, he's suddenly like the moral compass of Raw. I don't like it. He's almost like a tattletale. Which, okay, let me say something good, because I feel like I'm ranting a lot right now. I'm on a bad trip. Johnny Gargano is a great wrestler. Okay, I think he's really good, really talented. I think he's got, he's kind of got the everyman look. He's He doesn't have the, the jacked up 6'5", 275 muscle bound freak that Vince McMahon, has wet dreams over. But he's got that everyman kind of Daniel Bryan vibe to him, which I think it's kind of, that's been the trend for about a decade now, that fans gravitate more towards those kinds of guys because they feel they have control over it, where they can push guys even without WWE's approval. They'll force WWE to, because they're telling WWE. And really, I think a lot of that came with the Daniel Bryan movement, the Yes movement. That truly was a movement. It wasn't just, on air. It really was a movement, and one that has stuck to this day, where Daniel Bryan's path that he blazed has been utilized by guys since him and are going to continue to be used, because the fans, again, feel sometimes entitled, for better or worse, but empowered to say, no, WWE, this is the guy we want. So Johnny Gargano could be one of those guys that follows in Daniel Bryan's footsteps to some degree. At least the path has been carved. So, but again, the one thing I don't like with his character right now is he feels like a big, tattletale, know-it-all, moral compass, kind of virtue signaling D-bag. I'm sorry, he does. He just doesn't feel likable, even though I don't like The Miz. Is Johnny Gargano's main goal in life right now to make sure everyone tells the truth? Why? Just get in there and wrestle. I mean, that is going to be his best, and he's a good promo, but that's what he should be doing right now. Not worrying about if The Miz is telling the truth or not. But this week, he, super kicked The Miz, took the $100 bill and gave it back to the kid. And again, he's playing, the moral compass role, and I don't think it's a good role. It's kind of like, he looks like a narc, doesn't he? Right now, the way he's being portrayed right now, this moment, he looks like a narc. And I don't like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a cynical mood tonight, guys. I don't know. All right. What else happened? Let's see. Dakota Kai versus Candice LeRae. Kind of a forgettable match here, other than Candice LeRae getting the victory, and it was a good match. And then Kevin Owens versus Jey Uso, with Kevin Owens getting the victory. So Kevin Owens gets the victory here. Jey Uso, did lose, which was a bit surprising, given that they just came off a massive victory at Survivor Series. And, Jey Uso maybe could come back to that loss and say, where the hell were you, Sammy? Even though Kevin Owens said he didn't want anything to do with Sammy, it could be something he pulls back. Who knows? I doubt it, but it is something there. But this is a trend, guys. I want you to look at both Raw and SmackDown right now. Not a ton of star power. Roman is doing his kind of every 3 shows deal. Brock Lesnar's MIA. John Cena's nowhere to be found. The Rock's nowhere to be found. Stone Cold's nowhere to be found. Charlotte's nowhere to be found. It feels very, kind of humble right now, doesn't it? It feels a bit, it feels hard pressed to get any star power right now. Or if you want a more positive look at this, it's like if there was a tidal wave coming and it's the calm before the storm, but you see the ocean going out and you're like, what the hell is this? Right? Which, by the way, if anybody sees the ocean going out and you're on the beach, get the hell off the beach. But that's the analogy that came to my brain. If you see if it's the calm before the storm and the water's going out, a tidal wave's coming, right? So that's what I think it is right now. In the cyclical nature of wrestling, with December typically being a bit of a downer, kind of by the numbers, hold steady, steer the course type of month, that's what we just have to get through. And I really believe that the next 3-4 weeks, get through it, get through Christmas, get through New Year's, and then look out. It's going to be all hands on deck. So between now and then, for the next 3 to 4 weeks, it's going to be, maybe we just get some really good shows. I'm not saying all the shows are going to be garbage, but I don't think it's going to be anything earth shattering. Just kind of steady as she goes, some progression in stories. I'm not saying everything's going to stay still. It's going to be awful and we're going to get just enhancement talent. No. Definitely not. But the massive star power is probably not going to be there. But stories are going to progress. They have to. 3 to 4 weeks of TV is a lot of TV. And it's building towards a Rumble. So I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts heading into the next month of, Christmas and New Year's, then until those holidays pass, I don't think we'll see anything massive happen. So that's pretty much it for me tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the week in review. We're going to be heading to our sponsor in just a minute, but before we do, I want to let you know, if you want to get off of the ads, patreon.com/WWE podcast is a great way. There's also video available on there. I've been doing that a few times a week on the SmackDown tier and higher. You can see some video that I put out there. And on TikTok, we also have that. If you're interested in TikTok, we also have a ad-free component on Apple Podcasts. If you want to follow us on Apple Podcasts. And Elon did not unsuspend my Twitter account. So, like, I don't know. Boy, I must have really screwed up. I mean, I don't know. Did I make like terroristic threats? I don't know. I didn't do anything. But apparently, like, even Elon is like looking at my account going, nope. I don't know. So follow me on Twitter at wrestling_audio. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow with Anthony DeMarco as we cover the current state of WWE. Until then, take care. I'll talk to you next time. How would you like to perform your daily activities without pain stopping you? Then you need to go to pysoflex.com. That's PYSO flex.com, PYSO flex.com. They offer a wide range of resource selection, from braces to body supports. They even have one of those awesome massage guns and even a full body massage mat, which is awesome. So with the help of their products, you can live more comfortably and get back on track doing the daily activities that you enjoy. Their company stands by the belief that pain management is a requirement for a person to get back to doing their daily chores. They want to be your provider of products that will give you hope when you're facing challenges such as activity injuries, chronic pain, or an age-related disease. The company's goal is to give a one-of-a-kind selection of high-quality, comfortable brace and support products that ship directly to your home as soon as possible. Whether your health recovery is from a sports activity or health-related illness, they have a solution to aid that unexpected disease under one store. It's pysoflex.com, pysoflex.com. They also have a 30-day return policy, which means if something just isn't working right for you, you can return it for your money back. Guys, check out pysoflex.com, pysoflex.com, and manage your pain and get back to your life today.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.